same-day pickup and delivery, it's easy to shop the same in-store price.
Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. The older I've gotten, I've noticed that pretty much the way of the world is hypocrisy. Yeah, the older I've gotten, I've noticed that, like, it's the wave. That's the way of, that's the way this world go round, hypocrisy. Not everybody, of course, not everybody. Most. And then, most won't even admit that. Most won't even admit this. Most won't even admit that they're a hypocrite. They want to have it both ways. They want to have it both ways. They want to have it one way when it's convenient, and then the other way when it's convenient. Straddling, whatever it is that they believe in or subscribe to, they want to have it both ways. And this ain't even got nothing to do with race. That's what I wanted to speak on this live is, hypocrisy, me getting older and noticing that hypocrites is all among us. Hypocrites is all around, man. It's very disheartening. It's very disappointing. Because when you little, when you're younger, you look forward to getting older. To some of us, a lot of my generation, we used to crack jokes and, shit like that with the old heads and be like, yeah. And they would constantly be telling us, like, getting old, you know what I mean? Hopefully you get older, youngin'. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Lord willing, you get here. We wasn't even looking past, 18. But anyway, I say that to say, when you're younger, you don't even know much about the world. You might know a little bit just on, your area, your blocks, whoever it is, your family, your friends, your peers. I guess I could say this internet shit. This internet shit has this internet shit has opened my eyes to a lot of, I guess, the world, because I don't be watching a lot of the bullshit. Of course, I see what's happening with the turning point thing and all that, and then, the president, I see all that, but I don't let it affect me. Because I could say a lot of the things, being that I don't let, outsiders, I guess, influence my belief system, mainly because I don't be around it. I learned to filter that out when I was younger. we all have different experiences, on this world. So, during the time period when I was learning, I can't say that it was all gravy. I can't say that it was even foreseen that I was actually getting jewels. I was actually getting, a one up. By doing so, I was actually forced to leave shit alone, leave people alone, remove myself because it gets exhausting. You start to learn that, you got to do for self. Yeah, you start to learn that you got to do for self, and I noticed that, even when you do that, everybody ain't going, agree with that, because they figure we got to stay one and the same. We got to stay one and the same. We got to keep doing the same shit. And if you pull away, you the problem. I don't want to veer off what I'm saying, to relate that to hypocrisy. Most people talk about all that type of shit, like as far as having a change or what have you, and don't be really putting no action behind it. Like it sounds good. Growing up, I used to hate when I hear people say sounds good. Mainly because I feel like it was just a cliche thing to say, especially who it comes out, who says it. A lot of these slogans, a lot of these things that become cliche, become like script. It sounds exactly like that. Like it sounds like script. It sounds like you don't have no life behind it. And I could say that just, personally, I've never been a just a hot air blower. I don't just say shit just to say shit. I don't even do shit just to do shit. Like there's always reason behind it. There's always some type of motive behind it. It should be. I believe it's like that for everybody, but not everybody takes heed to it though. Not everybody's aware of it. You just going with the motions. You just going with, flowing, going with the flow type shit. Like I was saying, when you're younger, at least when I was younger, I didn't foresee the world being so dark. Not like I was in some fantasy land or nothing like that. Like I said, shit wasn't all gravy when I was younger. It's just, I just didn't see it. Didn't have certain shit around me. Like for example, racism. I didn't have things like that around me. I didn't really understand it. You know, you've heard stories. Like just brief. When your people tell you, on the other side of town, you got, you know what I mean? You go across the tracks, you go uptown or what have you. But at the same time, they wasn't even like that. Growing up in Jersey, it wasn't that deep with the racism like that. Yeah, you got people that don't like people. At least in my time period in the 90s, it wasn't that deep like that. It wasn't even as deep as how it is right now. At least we ain't see it. But it's a lot of things that I've noticed that it just became disappointing. Disappointing that as you open your eyes, and you learn different things, you're like, wow. So it ain't like for example, what's that famous commercial? The commercial they used to come on. It used to come on for the army, for the military. Be all you could be. or even when before that, in school they'll tell you, you could be anything you want to be. Shit like that. And in a way that's true. In a way that's true. It comes with a lot. They make it seem like it's like you can actually put in the hard work, put in the due diligence, put in the, you know what I mean, the discipline and what have you, and you'll get to where you need to go. They didn't throw in a bunch of the fine print. The fine print, of you're gonna have to deal with, discriminations. You're gonna have to deal with things that a lot of barriers that per se don't even have nothing to do with the field or the position you're trying to achieve. Which like I said, I ain't looking for no handout or no fairy tales being told or whatever the fuck. It's just those is bigger than even the position you're trying to achieve. Knowing that, you got to go through people that ain't even qualified. Ain't that some shit? You got to answer to people that ain't even qualified. Like they just in position by default, meaning, through the history of this country, like they just in position just off of that alone. Not even on no hard work, not even on no, just putting in, putting in the work to get to where they got to. Like, and you seeing that, you're like, so I gotta do this, I gotta go through them to get there. As a little boy, all I wanted to be was a cartoonist, an artist. And in a way, I still am. Am I the monetized type? Like, am I the illustrator for a cartoon, a major cartoon, or on a network or anything? Nah. I do it still as a hobby. Still for my well-being, still for, as my love. It's my talent. It's a talent, God-given talent. Amongst other things, but that was one of the top ones. That was the top one. As time progressed, I'm like, I'm trying to go to the NBA. I'm trying to go to the league, And then life happens, life happens with that. Like, skill's still there, still at this age, at 40, skill's still there, all that. Matter of fact, it sharpens as you get older. As long as you take care of yourself, as long as you take care of your body. But that detoured because of putting the ball down when I was young. I actually put the ball down for a hot minute, and then the streets take over. You jump in the streets, and that's where I learned a lot of hypocrisy as well. I learned a lot of hypocrisy in the street life as well. That was my first lesson of hypocrisy, matter of fact, where a person could say one thing and do another, or they want to have it both ways, And hope that you don't notice that though. Hope that you don't see it that way. Hope that you some duck, some, wool over your eyes ass nigga. Like I learned that through the hard way. Matter of fact, learned that through the hard way. People can relate to this. You in the streets with you, whether you be with one or a few, one other cat or a few, or even by yourself, and somebody just know of you. They'll be pushing or campaigning this whole real nigga shit. Yeah, that was one of the terms growing up. We would hear real nigga all day. I'm a real nigga. You ain't no real nigga. Shit like that. And it's like, that quickly became a myth to me. That quickly became a myth to me. Cause you're like, while y'all chopping it up, smoking that L, sipping, whatever it is, y'all bullshitting. Motherfuckers be talking like they harder than life or they thorough. And it be believable. The campaign be strong, you know what I mean? It be believable. A lot of it, mainly it just be believable because you don't want it to be false. You don't want your partner, you don't want it to be false. That'd be the thing. So it's like that with it, I relate, I could parallel that with like even fucking the story of Santa Claus and all that shit. I debunked that hypocrisy when I was 6 years old. Most kids, I don't know when, most of the, other kids found out that, yeah, there ain't no damn Santa Claus. But, yeah, I debunked that at a young age. I talk about that often in my lives. I use that as an example in different topics. Like, ain't no fat white man jumping through no chimney and bringing us gifts here, man. My mom ain't even got no chimney. And then second of all, there's no fat white man walking in this house. Then I was the type of kid that would stay up. You see what I'm saying? I'm staying up. I'm listening. I'm watching. I mean, we in a one bedroom as it is. We ain't in no fucking Pleasantville. We're not in, Mayberry or whatever the fuck. So it's like, yeah, I'm up. I'm already watching shit I ain't supposed to be watching. Don't really know what's going on, but, it's on the TV and I'm watching it late at night. New York Undercover, I grew up watching shit like that, New York Undercover. I can't think of no other ones right now off the top, but that gives you the era that I grew up in. I remember Arsenio used to be on. But yeah, I just look back at this shit and I didn't foresee a lot of things being so dark. so dark once you get older. And I believe it's just based off of, it's just, which is a whole nother topic. It's based off of just, we live in a degenerate ass society. It's ran by degenerates. It's ran by trial and error people. You know, trial and error works on certain things. It can't work on, you know, running a country. It can't work on, you know, running a society. It could work on, you know, cooking or, you know, learning how to, you know, dribble a ball or skate or some shit. But not nothing. Not even swimming. You can't have no. Well, trial and error can work on that, but that's where you learn that, hey man, there ain't no room for trial and error. You got to get it or you don't. Because if you don't, you drown. So I just look at it like, you know, it's very much disheartening to find out that most of the way of the world, most of the wave that you're supposed to jump on is being a hypocrite. You're supposed to contradict yourself daily. You're supposed to jump belief systems. You're supposed to jump ship every day. Whatever is convenient for you in your position. And I ain't saying that change is wrong. That's different. That's different. I'm talking hypocrisy. That people want to have it both ways. You know, flip-flop, wishy-washy. Don't really be solid in none of it. And that's what's being exposed, even in such a time as this. But if you ask me, it's always been that way. Just the mere lesson, just the mere fact of you have one people that want it all for them or nothing. I want it all for me, not me per se. I'm saying this is how you have a group on this earth that'll be like, oh, I want it all for me, and you get lesser than me, and if you get any more, that's gonna bother me. That's gonna, you know what I mean. That hurts. That hurts my position. That hurts their position because others get like they don't want no equality. Basically, there's no such thing as we all eat. There's no such thing as we all live in a house. I ain't say big house, like just a house. So I look at that as that's hypocrisy in itself. Like you could be in your home and then boom, you drive to work or what have you, and you seeing people that are on the street. I don't know about you, that bothers me. It always has. Even at one point of me being one of them. Even if I didn't look like I was one of them, I was out there. And you're like, damn. That be all you can be shit is definitely not true. Be what you want to be is definitely not true. Because you can take all the necessary steps to do so. But the one steps you didn't calculate, you didn't foresee is you got to go through them. I might be all over the place with this shit, but I know what I'm saying. That's just how my brain operates. That it just became very disheartening seeing that like it's really a whole different way. It's whenever, especially when things are like constantly pushed, it's normally the opposite of what's being pushed. It's normally a whole different message. Think propaganda, think, you know what I mean? And that bothers me. It bothers me to the core. Like I often go throughout my day, I go throughout my day with very short conversations. I keep shit short. There's a select, sometimes I go a little further, but even those are still disciplined. But I try not to let nothing influence my, my computer, my mindset, my what I got going on. I try not to let nothing influence my shit. And I've been like that since a young boy. It was in a different matter when I was younger, of course. I could say it was more aggressive. Now this is actually less aggressive. It's still aggressive, but it's not, shall I say, it's not waving, I'm not out in the open. Like it's not a crash dummy type aggressive. This is calculated. It's very calculated aggressive. Yeah, most definitely. And I feel like you have to be that way. I feel like you have to be that way. Nowadays we're living in times. We're living in times where all you hear is terms like Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, what have you, and it's like at the end of the day, what somebody else does shouldn't affect you. What somebody else does shouldn't affect you, but we're also living in a time where what somebody else does, they want the main reason why they do it is to affect you. Like it don't mean nothing else to them if it don't affect you. They won't outright admit that. You're supposed to be in the dark with that. You're supposed to, turn the cheek with that. You're supposed to, go along, get along, go along with it. You're supposed to allow it. Man, that's very, yeah, I always say, yeah, it's just crazy. That's dark, man. Like wild. So in order for you to exist, you have to do this to them. In order for you to get some type of fulfillment or any of this, or gain success, you have to do this you have to, F them over to get to it. To get that. Like that's crazy to me. Like it goes back to what I was saying about like, you they push it in schools to the kids, you be what you want to be and all that. And of course, a lot of these kids now, they're learning a lot more about racism and all that more than the other generations, because none of that was even pushed in our heads when we was younger. Because we ain't had the internet, one, and I mean, a lot of it wasn't this progressed. It wasn't this dark. If it was, they stayed on their side. We stayed like that's a lie in itself right there. Where people say that we were all together and shit. It's like it's never been together. It's always been segregated. Especially depending on what city you in, it's always been segregated. It's always been that way. The internet is just a way for. This is how I wrote a paper about this when I was 19 in college. I said, hey, the internet is created just so people can look through your window. It's just it's bigger than just accessing mere just information. You got to think deeper than that. It's to steal culture. It's to they'll call it appropriate. Yeah, it's to steal culture. It's to steal ideas. It's to, as you can see, what's going on right now. It's to sway political views. Yeah, we done got very too far. Too far. Once I noticed this too. Once we get something, we like go too far with it. It becomes your demise. Like we go too far with it. Like we get a technology right, and then we go too far with it, and then it ends up hurting us more than it helped us. At one point, it was groundbreaking, and it was like, the new wave, like this shit, it was a plus. It helped. It benefited us, and then we go too far with it. Then they play then you gotta play the catch up game, because they didn't go into it with preventative measures in mind. All they had was benefit on their mind, benefit. So it's like you go too far with it, and now you're trying to backtrack. You're trying to eliminate a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems. And you're also having to lie about it. Like that the issues don't exist because you're trying to convince others that the benefits is still, prevailing. When that's not true. When I say that, I can parallel to even like how the economy is right now. At one point, you wouldn't even hear me talk about economy in my life. At one point, I still really don't give a fuck about it. I honestly can say that. As long as I can make a few dollars to, put some food on the table and keep a roof over my head, gas in the vehicle, I'm alright. I don't need much. But like I was saying, as far as the economy or, the price of things and shit like that, you're like, yo, there's no way in the world you can look at it like we're benefiting from any of this. I'm sure you feel like you're on a damn hamster wheel. In a way, taking vacations and shit from it is hypocrisy. It's like, I feel like you don't have no day off, and you going to give money to something else that that doesn't help you at all. You might argue that it helps your mental, or we like to do nice things, of course. I just don't believe I was born into an era where we should be concentrating on that. Like I learned I can parallel this with this statement. I learned that I shouldn't be buying sneakers anymore. That was some years ago. I still got the same collection of sneakers. I've always been good with shoes, good with belongings, period. I'm good with materials, period. I take care of my shit. I had to learn that as a little boy. Cause I ain't getting shit else. If that's how your parents used to tell you, ain't getting shit else if you fuck this up. So I learned that as, But anyway, to parallel with the sneakers thing is, I learned that it don't mean shit to me. It don't benefit me. It don't benefit me. It doesn't, especially being a sneakerhead before this sneaker culture or whatever, sneaker cons and all this shit that they have now. That ain't got nothing, black people ain't got no hand in it, but we boosted up all these economies, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers wasn't rocking Timberlands and motherfuckers wasn't rocking Reeboks, none of this shit. Mountain Gate, we can name any Tommy Hilfiger, all of it. And none of it poured back into our community. It's like, what the fuck did it benefit? What do we do it for? Just to look nice, just to look like we got money. I mean, looking nice is part of our culture. There's nothing wrong with that. But you don't gotta break yourself to do so. It doesn't have to be like that. You don't have to break yourself to do so. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, as far as the hypocrisy that we live in, you rub shoulders with hypocrites every day. You run into people that are constantly basically tiptoeing. They tiptoe around you. Like nothing's really solid, nothing's really genuine. Only your circle. And even then, depending on who's in your circle, they're doing it for a benefit as well. For the wrong benefit that you think. Like you might think that, y'all all on the same page, y'all on the same page, y'all on the same goal, same wavelength. And they say a lot of sounds good shit. They say a lot of, they do a lot of empty smiling. They do a lot of, fake love. And it eventually reveals itself, You just hope that it's not at the cost of, destroying whatever you got going on. Like hopefully you see it before it destroys all. Leaves you assed out. But speaking of assed out, that's how I look at hypocrites. I look at hypocrites as a person that is, willing to bend, like they don't really stand on no mountain or nothing. They don't stand on a mountain or nothing. They don't have a firm foundation or nothing. I think of that get it how you live type shit. We use we use most of the black culture. We use get it how you live in a whole different manner, just like get it out the mud or what have you. But others might use it in a different way. Like how they live is different. So it's like you gotta understand that it'll be at your demise. They gonna get it how they live. They gonna, hurt you to help them. Hurt you to help them. And in a way, they even live in a manner of shit. They hurt themselves to, they don't even know that it hurts them. That's how one track mind it'll be. That's that trial and error shit I'm talking about. I just can't. I can't be around people that run on insanity. You know what I mean? They're fueled, but they don't even notice it. Most people that are insane can't even notice it, man. They don't even see it until it's too late. Where you can't backtrack, you can't do that trial and error shit. You can't, all right, let's pick it all up and build it all up again. Like think of a kid, playing with Legos and they constantly trying to build something, trying to build a castle or build a boat or some shit, whatever it said on the package. They had the instructions right there though. You know what I mean? You give the kid a benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? You learning. That's the whole point of Legos. It's to form critical thinking. It's to form some type of structure, approach. But when you see it in adults, it really bothers me. You see it every day on the road. Like imagine roads without lines. How would do you think people would be disciplined enough to stay on their side or stay away from the car over there? You get what I'm saying? Like I don't see it. And the same people will be in high positions, right? They're making $100,000, driving some fancy car, big house, and you're like, how the fuck did they do that? But they can't match up the shapes. It's very weird. And the thing about it is I don't even worry about them. I'm not no pocket watcher and none of that. I don't really care. If you got that, I actually look at it as good. Not for all though. Especially now that I know the history, because I'm like, man, you had to use my people to get to it. So I don't honor that at all. I don't care how, first of all, you still look like shit. You still feel like shit. All the boats, houses, and cars and all this shit. And you still are shit. You don't even feel good. The real currency to you is as long as you're on top of doing better than my people. Then you also, like it just got layers to the shit, and then you also run under the guise of you're a Christian. That's hypocrisy in itself as well. I remember growing up in Sunday school, we never even, a lot of the things that I've learned now that I removed myself from Christianity, which has been some years now, I never knew that we didn't get taught a lot of the things that I learned, and there was a reason for that. Like I read something earlier that some lady went to, seminary school, and she ended up not getting her doctorate, not getting her, her license or whatever, because it all ended up being false to her. Because she learned truth, and and it became a contradiction. It became a debate now every time they go to the school. I remember doing that even in regular school. I used to debate with teachers about different things that they're teaching us in there. In their lessons. I can't think of the word right now. I'm drawing a blank, but you get what I'm saying. Curriculum, yeah, in their curriculum, and it's like I would literally tell them like, you don't even believe that. You don't even believe that. It's like, yeah, I'll do the work because I have to. I have to do the K through 12 shit just to get to the steps, get to the next level. That's what I was saying as far as like when you're little and they tell you could be all you want to be, whatever you want to be. It's like, yeah, they just leave out the parts where you're going to have to bend and shift and shape shift to different shit, ideologies just to do it. And it's like, I, I'd rather do it without monetary value than I'd rather do it, The good thing about the internet is you can find your people, you can find your crowd, and you can make a little bit of money. You probably not gonna break to the 1%, the 1% that is buku rich, big big money, but shit, make a little crumbs from your audience, and that should be enough. That should be enough. But yeah, I noticed that it just ain't like it ain't how it actually should be, or how they're trying to portray it to be. When I say they, I'm meaning this whole conjured up way of living that these people decided to play God. That's who I mean by they. For anybody who wants to know who the fuck is he saying they is, it's like if you need to ask who I mean by they, yeah, you're already lost. And I don't want nobody to get it twisted, man. This ain't no woe is me or or down on my dick ass talk. Like, nah, I'm alright. I'll just say that I'm alright. And my alright might be different than your alright. Like you might see my way of living or what have you, and look at it like it ain't much. And I'll tell you it ain't much, but I'm fulfilled though. I'm more fulfilled than somebody that has, 7 digits. And that's what you're seeing nowadays. It's like all that is becoming obsolete. All that is becoming just straight nothing. And then People are being forced to tap into the reality of things. Like, fuck all these fables and myths and the ideologies that, are driven off of just pure hate. Things are just driven off of pure just evil hate. Under the guise of different things, ideologies that they've created to make it seem like it's cupcakes and rainbows, or it's, positiveness, and it's like very, very sickening. It's very, very, very disappointing. I don't know about you, it disappoints me. And this is why I say I actually don't give people no time of day. I keep my circle very, very tight. It's been like that for some years. Anybody that know me know that. Like, you'll absolutely know if I fuck with you. And you absolutely know if I don't. Like, there's no gray area. I don't have 1 foot over here and 1 foot over there. I'm not trying to do both. I'm not trying to do both. I can't do both. I put all my focus in you know what I mean? The one position, the one path. Trying to do both, yeah. Trying to do both is definitely a recipe for disaster. But yeah, hypocrisy, man. I'm gonna say this. Yeah, hypocrites. I parallel it. I relate hypocrites to people that they waver. They're like the white flag wavers. You know what I mean? Like, once again, they don't stand on nothing. Like, it's basically because it's already trial and error. They already don't have a firm approach, a strategy. If anything, their strategy is based on how they can get over on how I can manipulate or gaslight or what have you on another just to get to the next position. So if each one of these steps don't, if each one of these steps of trying to, shit on another person, if it doesn't cooperate, you can't go to the next step. and then you're forced to either wave the flag, or it basically you're forced to be emotional. You're forced to, do something out of body. Like, you're forced to do something against, and that's why I say it can't possibly be aligned up with like things like Christianity or what have you, because all you have to do is throw a little wrench in the mix, and then everything that they were just saying yesterday will go out the fucking window. Everything that they said they believed in yesterday, it won't even apply to today. All because you threw a wrench in the whole shit. It was a detour in the whole shit. Now, when you look at that equation, it's like, oh, how in the world can you say they stood firm in anything? Like, I could say I've always respected a motherfucker that is like, for example, in the streets, like, you'll run into a cat that's always been grimy. Grimy used to be the word back then. We used to call niggas grimy. I don't know if people say that. A slimy nigga. Somebody that'll get you. You know what I'm saying? And he's always like that though. Like, don't ever think that he's not gonna be that way. You know what I'm saying? To me, I respect that. Cause he telling you what it is. He's showing you what it is. It ain't no, you know, 1 minute he's smiling, you know, which that might be a part of his tactics of being grimy, but you get what I'm saying. Like, his motive has always been the same. It's always been that same motive, is to get you. You know what I'm saying? But you that's become the way. That's become it's the way of the land. I see. It's the way that it's bigger than just, you know, your low level street nigga. It's bigger than that. It's like the way of the land. It's to, you know, maneuver through life like as if I have to, you know, take out of these people's mouths just to just to put more food in my belly. Like, that's crazy to me. And you know, depending on who you talk to, once again, they'll tell you that, you know, we have to be that way. And nah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. That maybe in the beginning of civilization, you know, and even then it didn't even have to be like that. I'm gonna backtrack on that. I'm gonna take that back. Even then, I don't think it had to be like that. Nah, it definitely didn't have to be like that. Like I was saying, it's like, yeah, they waved the white flag. You know, it's a you know, a very unstable stance, unstable position that they stand on, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to be around, you know, hypocrites. It's even more dangerous to have a whole country ran by it. Super. And that's why I promote minimalism, being a minimalist, you know. Yeah, I promote that, man. Like, I promote not chasing labels. I promote not chasing money even. Yeah, hell no. Basically just keeping it straight minimal, you know. Straight, you know, north and south. Like, do what you gotta do. All the other shit is extra. All the other shit is extra. Keep the basics to basics, you know. Keep the basics to basics, yeah. You know, your health, your family. You know, people like, boom, when I say health, you know, see, that's a slogan that's been thrown around. Health is wealth, and it's like it just be a lot of just empty sloganisms. And the thing about it, I don't know if people notice this about the ones that are so-called fitness gurus and you know, gym rats and shit like that. It only matters to them that and it's not all people are like this. Like, there are people that are genuinely, you know, willing to help others achieve, you know, good health, better health. But most of them are doing it just for image, just for vanity. And I've had to explain this to somebody, and there was some cat that I seen on the internet, some old head, and he explained it very well. He was like, most people go to the gym to look strong, not actually be strong. And I've been saying that for years. I only say I've been saying that for years because I worked in construction, and I'm not the biggest dude, nor am I small. I'm just not the biggest dude, but you know what I mean. I hold my own, and I'm stronger than most of the, like boom. If you was to see me next to, some 6'4" motherfucker with, muscles on top of muscles, you would probably think that he's stronger than me, and that I would prove that wrong. And it's not even about me trying to prove it wrong. He would tell you that, no, he's actually stronger. I'm 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, 230, and it's solid. Yeah, I have a little belly, but that's not even no factor. Like you can't see it unless unless I pull it, unless I pull on my belly. But anyway, my point is most just want to look strong, and that I parallel that with a lot of shit. Like you want to look rich, you want to look like you got money, you want to look like you're a righteous man or woman. You want to appear to the eye. You want to appear to the public like you're this and that. And that's I noticed that's been the wave. That's the wave. That's the way of the land. To not actually be it, but just to appear that way. As long as you appear, and little do you know, the people that do that appear shit, that illusion shit, they have to go look at themselves in the mirror every day. They have to, behind closed doors, they have to face that. And that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with nothing but that day in and day out. We're rubbing shoulders with just emptiness like that. And that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous as fuck. It's like no genuineness, no originality, no, authenticity, no, that can keep going. Like that's all dangerous. That's dangerous. Nothing is firm. And once again, it's not all. I'm saying this is most. This is most. Because if what I'm saying wasn't true, we wouldn't have shit such as, people being hungry or homeless and shit like that. Yeah, they did have their own decisions. Yeah, they did, make, whatever it is, their choices, the wrong choices they made to get to where they got. But does that mean we leave them by the wayside? You're a Christian, right? Does that mean we leave them out in the wind, leave them out in the cold, feed them to the wolves? Nah. That's why I always say whenever I hear somebody talk down on somebody else's situation, I instantly look at the person that is talking down on their situation. Like I'm talking depending on if they're doing it in a manner of constructiveness, meaning, and there's no way of talking down on a person when you're doing it in a constructive way. They're not ugly with it. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not like, look at this piece of shit. They're not doing that. You know what I mean? They're like, actually, they're doing it in a way of, they have solutions. Like they're actually lending a hand to help them. And then you have the ones that do it, like I just said, that'll be on some, actually talking down, tooting their nose up, like, look at this piece of shit. Oh, this is here, and how can you think that way? You're a shitty person. And it's like, yeah, that person might be thinking shitty, but what does it make you for even saying that? That's what I always think whenever like, for example, what's going on with this whole turning point bullshit. It's like, you got these people jumping out talking about, all y'all are pieces of shit, and you know, how can you do this and that? And it's like, how does it make you feel by doing, even saying what you're saying? How does it, like, what does that make you? And you might think that, oh, how else are they going to call it out? How else are they going to call it out? It doesn't have to be all violent. It doesn't have to be all aggressive like that. I could say that. I could say that. You actually can. You actually could just. You actually could just discuss it amongst your peers. You don't even have to confront the, because it doesn't do nothing for you confronting the people that are like, oh, that believe otherwise, you know, opposite of you. It doesn't do shit for you. At all. All it does is incite conflict, which is gonna, you know, history done shows you, it just incites war. It promotes war, it promotes violence, that's it. And most of you are not even about that. You can have all the guns in the world, you can, you know, have all the rage in your eyes in the world, and you're still not about that. Because one of my most famous lines that I always say damn near every day is, you knock one of these people back, these people get knocked back, right? Their shit get knocked back. The first thing that their people is gonna say is, they were a good person. They were a great person. This was a good man. This was a good woman. And it's like, just 24 hours ago, the person, see, look, that's the power of the internet that people are using it now for as well. The Twitter shit and all that. Like, they'll go back to what they said, what they used to post and tweet and all that. And it won't line up with nothing of what their people are saying 24 hours after they're gone. Won't align up with none of it. Just 10 hours ago, just fucking 2 hours before the person gets unalived, it didn't align up with what you're saying. And they'll say they didn't deserve. No, they don't. People don't deserve to die over what they said. No, hell no. But you gotta understand that it ain't even just about what they're saying. They actually live this. And that's that, you know what I mean? People actually live that way. Like, it definitely ain't just words when you know what I mean? And that's a myth right there, for people to be thinking that, you know, just because you have freedom of speech, that means you should say it. You're free to say whatever. You see what I mean? That's why I said, you calling out somebody else's beliefs that you don't agree with, and you're doing it in an aggressive, violent manner. You're doing it in a manner that, you know, all you really want to do is conflict. That's really all you really want to fucking do. You know what I mean? You're getting no benefit out of it. Unless y'all having like a constructive discord, the constructive dialogue, like, hey, we're going to put all this on the table, and then we got to walk out of this room with a solution for the both of us. We got to walk out with a solution for the both of us. Unless you're doing that, just going back and forth with this shit ain't doing nothing for you. Like, that's what people don't understand about so-called Republicans and Democrats. They're the same motherfuckers. They have to sit down at the table and come up with a solution at the end of the fucking day. Yeah, it might be, you know, topsy-turvy. It might be, you know what I mean? Seesaw factor, but hey, at the end of the day, they have to come up with a solution. It's the same equation even with a prosecutor, you know, a DA and a judge, jury and all that. Like, they have to come up with a common denominator at the end of the day. Yeah, you might get the short end of the broom handle, You know what I mean? So we came to the conclusion of that though. Yeah, I just wanted to speak on this whole hypocrisy shit that I just it just bothers my mental. Any of my lives that I ever speak on, like it's just things that I speak to with my loved ones. You know, I only have a select few that I choose to talk to about things even deeper than on this damn internet. But when I bring it to my YouTube channel and speak on it, I'm mainly just venting, promoting dialogue, even if you disagree with anything I say, it ain't gonna do me nothing. Just so like what I just said a moment ago, it ain't gonna do me nothing. So you could choose to keep it to yourself, or, either way, you're gonna be fighting with yourself. Stay blessed.